Welcome, everyone, to our regular business meeting of the Board of School Trustees, held here today, March 18th at 6 o'clock. Thank you all for coming out this evening. We will start with item 1.02, the Pledge of Allegiance, and a moment of silence. If everyone could please rise. Mr. Smith will lead us in a pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Item 2 in tonight's agenda is our Board of Trustees Resolution of Accommodation Awards. 2.01, the Crown Point High School Varsity Dance Team for being named the national champions in the small varsity high kick division at the National Dance Team Championships and state champions in the 3A kick division and state runner-up in the 3A team division, POM division, at the Indiana State High School Dance Team Association State Championships. Also, we have the Crown Point High School Junior Varsity Dance Team for being named state champions in the JV kick division at the Indiana High School Dance Team Association State Championships. I have a motion to approve the combination as read.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Mr. Vassar, seconded by Mr. Smith. Any questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries 4-0. Ms. Bays will now read those combination awards, and we'll introduce you each individually.
All right, do we want to all come on in? All right, that is a lot. Okay, so I will start with our varsity first, and then I'll do our JV. So the resolution of commendation. The Crown Point School Board of Trustees is honored to commend the 2023-2024 Crown Point High School Varsity Dance Team for meritorious achievement. Be it hereby resolved that the Board of School Trustees for the Crown Point Community School Corporation wishes to express sincere congratulations to the 2023-2024 Crown Point High School Varsity Dance Team for being named national champions in small varsity high kick at the National Dance Team Championship and state championships in the AAA kick and the state runner-up in the AAA POM at the Indiana High School Dance Team Association State Championship. The Board of School Trustees publicly recognizes this achievement and renders it permanently to its minutes to be preserved for public posterity, dated this 18th day of March, 2024. So I'll call you ladies up, and then we'll have your coaches say a few words. So Elise Clark. Yes. Oh, yeah, sorry. Yep. Bailey Finnerty. Aubrey Godino. Kendall Hughes. Kylie Alaski. Mackenzie Cochran. Reese Reddick. Madeline Rodriguez. Calliope Sacaleros. Emerson Stamper. Leah Sullivan. Caden Vader. And Grace Zamora. Oh, sorry, still more. Jenny Corazon. Okay. All right, and then coaches Chloe Hoffman. And then I'll give you the rest. And then Coach Chelsea Doss, she's not here, correct? Okay. All right, would you like to say a few words about the team? So last year I stood up and did this one, And I'm pretty sure I said, "This is amazing. You guys are fantastic. Don't you guys do this every year?" And you guys were like, "No, this is actually the first time we've been national champions." But I feel like this is a very accomplished dance team. And now I can say, "Don't you guys do this every year?" And that's actually the case. So I'll let you say a few words. Congratulations, ladies.
Yeah, so this was an amazing achievement, obviously, and it seems like maybe it doesn't seem as big because we've done it twice now, but that was probably the hardest thing about it, was being able to go in and win a championship again, especially at the national level. It's a lot of pressure and stress on a team when they're trying to go and do it again, and they were able to achieve that, so I'm really proud of this varsity squad for sure.
Awesome. All right, and then we'll have everybody stay for 1 second, because this is JV's in here too, correct? All right, and then I'm going to steal, sorry, I'm going to steal. All right, so then our second one is for our JV dance team. Resolution of commendation. The Crown Point Board of School Trustees is honored to commend the 2023-2024 Crown Point High School Junior Varsity Dance Team for meritorious achievement. Be it hereby resolved that the Board of School Trustees for the Crown Point Community School Corporation wishes to express sincere congratulations to the 2023-2024 Crown Point High School Junior Varsity Dance Team for being named state champions in JV kick at the Indiana High School Dance Team Association State Championship. The Board of School Trustees publicly recognizes this achievement and renders it permanently to its minutes to be preserved for public posterity, dated this 18th day of March, 2024. And we have Libby Brown, Tyler Eberhart, Aubrey Harris, Riley Creeth, Braylon McGrady, Saoirse Mullally, Gabriella Rivera, Sophia Vorwald, Mayray Wallace, Valerie Jones, and Nicole Dillner. Okay, all right. And then, Coach, do you want to say a few words? So now we have not just success on the varsity, but also on the JV, just taking the entire thing by storm. So we're very proud if you want to say a few words.
Yeah, I just want to point out that our JV team was actually undefeated throughout all of IHSDTA invitationals this year, including state. So I just want to say I'm very proud of all of them, and kick is definitely a very difficult category, and it was the first year JV has done it in a couple of years, so I'm very proud of all of them.
And then we'll have you guys stay for pictures. Do you want to maybe condense into like 2 rows? Okay.
All right, guys, I want you guys get in a picture form, so.
Parents,
They have to be here.
parents, feel free to get up and take pictures as you would like.
Congratulations, ladies. No, I don't blame you. I have, like I said. Item 3 on tonight's agenda is patrons' registered comments. We have one this evening, Mr. Matt Huss. Mr. Huss? And when you get the podium, just state your name, and you do have 3 minutes to speak on the matter you'd like to speak about.
Hi, I'm Matt Huss. I live here in Crown Point, 1654 Chestnut Drive. I'm here to express my concerns about the state of the roads on the way to the new Taft Middle School. Many days driving to and from the new Taft is a harrowing experience. Iowa Street has narrow lanes, no shoulders, and lanes that flood entirely in heavy rain. In addition, the section closest to 109th North Street is riddled with potholes. Many mornings, the school buses drive with their tires riding on the middle line of the road, which gives little to no room for error for traffic going the opposite direction. The intersection of Iowa and 121st not only does not have a three-way stop sign, but there is no signage at the intersection indicating the turn to Taft School. It seems to me that the only infrastructure improvements that were done to accommodate the new school was to widen and repave the few blocks of 121st leading directly to the school, and the addition of the access road connecting the school to 117th. In my opinion, a lot more needs to be done, especially widening Iowa Street and the remainder of 121st, and ideally connecting 121st all the way through to Broadway. I would hope the school board acts urgently on this matter for the safety of every motorist. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Just in a little follow-up just regarding that matter, obviously Iowa would be concerned of the city, but the town of Winfield, as part of our building project there, was giving $3.6 million of our corporation's money to make improvements. So anything that falls into the unincorporated Winfield town, that money was given to them to use for road improvements. I can't answer with the city, but obviously as a school corporation, we're in communication with them. I will relay that message to them based on you speaking this evening. Thank you. Item 4 tonight is our consent agenda. Dr. Terrell?
Thank you. For your consideration this evening, we have 4.01, the regular business meeting minutes, 4.02, our personnel agenda, and 4.03, the voucher of registered checks as listed.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration for approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Ms. Basin. Question or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Action items tonight, item 5, 5.01, policy additions and revisions, second reading and adoption. Mr. Kiwa.
Yes. Thank you. Second reading coming up here right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on one second. While you're getting caught up, Mr. Kiwa, I'm sorry. I messed up. We got a new employee I was supposed to introduce, and I want to make sure we get, because that was on me. So let me make sure so I pronounce her name right.
Would you like me to take care of it, Mr.?
Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Reese, since you're already there.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I'd like to introduce you tonight, our new Director of Food Service, Christine Clarahan. We're excited to have another cyclone in the central office building, and we can't wait for her to get started over the summer.
So on behalf of the board, welcome. This is our food service director. We have a retirement of a longtime employee, Pam Maloney. I'm sure we'll do something here before her last days here. So we'd like to welcome you to the school corporation, and I won't hold anything against you being an Iowa State Cyclone. I have no ill will against them. So any few words you'd like to say, not required.
I'm very excited to be here and take the torch from Pam and continue running with it.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for coming this evening. Thanks again for the reminder, gentlemen. Now we'll move on with item 5.01, policy additions and revisions. Mr. Key.
Thank you, Mr. President and board members. Tonight, we bring back to you the following policies: ISBA 5370, ISBA 5371, ISBA 4400, ISBA 4005, and ISBA 4006. These particular policies are state mandated policies, and this would be ISBA versions regarding the display of a flag and a pledge, moments of silence, locker searches, non-discrimination of disabled individuals, and 504 grievance procedures. This evening, we recommend that the board waives a second reading and adopts these policies for the school corporation.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration and also for the waiving of the second reading and approval of these policies, revisions, replacements, and additions as presented. May I have a motion?
I move to waive the formal reading of the amendments and ask for, and move to approve.
Second?
A motion by Mr. Smith, second by Ms. Basin. Question or discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Vassar?
Mr. Akiwa, on the display of the United States flag and the Pledge of Allegiance, that's been around for quite a while, so how does this differ from what we've already been doing for years?
It's just the updated version with ISBA. We're converting from Neola to ISBA, so it's just, many of these are same policies, but just slightly different language. And I think as you see when we progress from Neola to ISBA, there's going to be fewer words to describe the same policies. It's really a much more condensed version of policies that we know about.
People could see that and think, well, haven't done this? But we've been doing it for years.
That is correct, but we have to have them, and we're going to update it now with the new ISBA version.
Thank you for clarifying.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries 4-0. 5.02, Colonel John Wheeler School Interior Improvements and Related Work Project Bid Package. Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. We received bids regarding the Wheeler Middle School interior improvements and related work package. Our budget for this was $2.3 million. The total amount of bids tonight we're asking for your approval is $2,220,787. Skillman Corporation or the Building School Corporation, has had extensive experience with all three of these vendors. So with that, the administration is recommending approval of the contracts for Colonel John Wheeler Middle School interior improvements and related work project.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. You've heard the recommendation of the administration for the approval of the contracts for Colonel John Wheeler Middle School interior improvements and related work project as follows. General trades to Larson Daniels in the amount of $651,000. For flooring to Midwest Tile and Interiors in the amount of $1,307,267. And for painting to Stan's Painting in the amount of $262,520. May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Ms. Basin, seconded by Mr. Smith. Question or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. And thank you for anybody's help on that matter, including Dion and Skillman for running through that bid procedure. You know what, just to clarify something since we're on there, if we can clarify with Mr. Reese or Dion, when we have 2.3 set aside and there's 2.20, that just continues and stays in the construction fund?
That's correct.
I just wanted, so the public was aware that those shortages and overages are all for the same project and stay in that same fund. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
5.03, District Furniture. Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board, we have another recommendation for some additional furniture, casework, and shelving at Crown Point High School, MacArthur Elementary, and Winfield Elementary. A public bid was received on this. We have a low bid from Pulse Technology in the amount of $366,139.03. We're recommending approval of that bid.
You've heard the recommendation of the administration for approval for ancillary items of furniture, casework, and shelving for the amount of $366,139.03 to Pulse Technology. May I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion by Mr. Vassar, seconded by Mr. Smith. Question or discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries 4-0. 6.01, discussion and report items. First reading, Mr. Akiwa.
Thank you, Mr. President and board meetings. I bring to you this evening the following policies for a first reading for information only. We'll bring them back next month, hopefully for approval. You'll find before you ISBA 3110, which is drug-free workplace policy, ISBA 3120, training and health precautions for communicable diseases, ISBA 6210, small purchases under $50,000, And policy 0115, which is the official address of the Crown Point Community School Corporation, which as you can see will be moved to 1050 South Main Street, Crown Point, Indiana, 46307. Again, these are here tonight, presented to you for a first reading and information only.
Thank you, Mr. Kiwa. I imagine you'll get a chance to review those prior to the meeting. If any questions or items come up before, obviously, approval, which will be next month, Mr. Kiwa,
Yes, sir.
please let us know if there's any issues with those policies. And thank you for your help on that, Mr. Kiwa.
Thank you.
7.01, superintendent's discussion groups. We'll get started with Mr. Vassar because I know he has a legislative update
Do
or
you want that
information.
now or you want that later?
Let's see here. Let's see where we're
I
at.
can give you the Cedar Lake redevelopment.
Yeah, we'll do that we'll just add that in other business. Why don't you give us Cedar Lake for now?
Okay, yeah,
Thank
we had our meeting last week in Cedar Lake. Yeah, as you know, or maybe you don't know, they almost entirely new board there. And that new board met as a board with the entire Hanover School Community School Board. And they said that went extremely well, and it really got everybody thinking the same vision and the same track. So I didn't know if Dr. Terrell had wanted to do that with the Cedar Lake Redevelopment Commission, which is the same as the town board, same members, if you wanted to do that or not. But the Hanover folks thought that went really well with their folks.
Definitely something we can look into to see if we can get something scheduled. Mr. Smith, anything from Crown Point?
We also had our meeting last week. Nothing of most important or significant importance to the school corporation. The city of Crown, or the redevelopment commission did acquire some additional property between Iowa Street and Mississippi Parkway to continue to expand the trail, the bike trail. So as that continues to get connected, that just for community purposes. And then a property next to I-65 running north from 109th to Mississippi. There's several parcels there they prepared for development that, as part of the Mississippi expansion project for TIF district, they brought that in, but currently it's farmland, so I don't think it's gonna have much impact on any tax implications for the school corporation at this point.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Nothing with Winfield. I'll get to some Winfield information when, other business a little later in the meeting. So with that being said, 7.02, Director of Elementary Education, Mr. Chiquina.
Thank you, Mr. President and board members. We had a very exciting day a few weeks ago on Leap Day. We welcomed hundreds of new students to the class of 2037 with kindergarten pre-registration. Pre-registration is still open. We're beginning to start communicating with our families about opportunities that are leading up to next school year. So if you know any incoming kindergarten students, send them to our website /kindergarten, and they can find all the relevant information. We had a very successful season with our elementary robotics teams. Special congratulations and best of luck to the Eisenhower squad, who will be competing this weekend at Lucas Oil Stadium. Very exciting. I want to give a big thank you to our 7 elementary art teachers. They plan and put on this big display at the public library during the month of March, and I think it was Wednesday evening, it was just awesome to see hundreds of our elementary students going to see their art on display at the public library. The kids get so excited to see their own artwork on display. So thank you to our awesome art teachers who worked really hard on that, and we're really grateful to have that partnership with the public library. Coming up after spring break, it's always an exciting night when all 7 of our elementary schools get together. The Math Bowl is happening on April 9th at Colonel Wheeler, so if you want to test out your math skills, we'll be over at Colonel Wheeler for the Math Bowl that evening. That's all I have for tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm getting these pauses down pretty good now after a few tests. 7.03, Director of Secondary Education, Mrs. Ramirez.
Thank you, Mr. President and board members. I would like to take just this opportunity to really share some of the exciting and special accomplishments that our students achieve because of the dedication not only that they show, but also that our sponsors, our coaches show. I think there's never a shortage of things that we can talk about between elementary and secondary, but just wanted to highlight a few this evening and thank all of those who are involved. The Giver play at the high school wrapped up this past weekend. If you had an opportunity to get to see it, it was another great demonstration of the skills and talents that our students really hone and work hard that really start developing from elementary and carry all the way through their high school years and then sometimes even beyond. The high school is hosting its first career day on April 26th, which will be in the field house, and they are in the process right now of reaching out to businesses. Businesses are then able to set up a booth, talk with students about future career plans, share information about their careers, and students have been surveyed about potential interests. So if you have any interest in participating in that and want to know more, I'm sure Lynn Alkire over at the high school can give you some more information, but I know that they are really in the throes of getting this organized, and another great opportunity for our students to get a little bit more information before they start to make post-secondary decisions. In terms of our middle schools, there's a lot of joint things that I would like to share this evening, from ISMA with band, choir, and orchestra having performed very well in the past 2 weeks. There were awards with distinction. They got all music awards. So it's really just great to see again that band, choir, and orchestra is so strong in our middle schools and then rolling up into high school. As Mr. Chikina shared, robotics is in full swing at the middle schools as well, with them going down to state competition, and then that, of course, will then determine which of the teams, if any, will make it to Worlds, which is always an exciting opportunity for our children to compete at the highest level. Something that I think is interesting too with our joint efforts, elementary, middle, and high school, is St. Baldrick's. We had the St. Baldrick's event last week, and over $23,000 was raised and able to be donated. And I just think, again, the philanthropy of our students and the dedication of our teachers to teach students how to give back to their community and to look out for others is really inspiring at all levels. Lastly, we have an awesome opportunity tomorrow to continue with junior achievement in Chambertown at the middle school level. Our students in 8th grade will be going over to do junior achievement tomorrow. They get a job title, they get to walk around, they get to learn about budgeting and all sorts of fun things like how much it costs to have a mortgage and to get insurance and how much money you need to survive. So I really am very grateful to the businesses and the community partners who give this opportunity to our students. So I thank the sponsors, the teachers who are going, coaches, everybody that really makes all of these things happen. So it's a little picture of middle school and high school and what has been happening recently. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. 7.04, Director of Exceptional Education, Mrs. Paskus.
Good evening, President Angel, members of the board. This is one of our favorite months of the year. This is Disability Awareness Month. So besides educating students on disabilities, we've been working with several adult groups throughout the district. So a couple weeks ago, Kelly Oost, my assistant director, and then Christina Dreschel and Andrea Avila, my coordinators, we met with the ambassadors and took them through exceptional education as a department, how we work, and then went over to Timothy Ball and checked out the new Early Learning Center in the preschool section there, as well as down to our applied skills programming so they could see what that looked like over at T-Ball. Last week, we met with front office secretaries and educated them on also what our department looks like, who to contact, how to handle visitors that come to the office that may have disabilities, and then just kind of like rules of engagement with parents if they call and have questions regarding special education. March 21st, this Thursday, is World Down Syndrome Awareness Day. So the theme is typically rock your socks. So you will see pictures on our social media sites that have staff members wearing mismatched or crazy socks in kind of honor of World Down Syndrome Day. We have two big events coming up. Our transition fairs over at the high school on April 23rd at 5:30. And we have close to, I think, about 60 vendors, trade programs, schools, military, day programs, and recreation activities our parents can access for their children with disabilities. And then, best day of the year, put it on your calendars. We'd love the support. I think Mr. Smith can vouch for it. Wednesday, May 15th is Unified Game Day at Crown Point High School. So we are looking for supporters, volunteers, whatever you can do. We would love to have you there and love to see you. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Paskus. 7.05, Director of Grants and Assessments, Mr. Hardman.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. Tonight, I want to take you back to March 13th of 2020. Anybody remember what that date was?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that was the beginning of the COVID. But something more important to that, we received over a period of time approximately $6 million from the federal government to be able to spend to help support instruction and safety and precautions in regards to the COVID pandemic. So tonight, we're coming to the end of the period. So at the end of, September 30th of this year, and funds need to be spent or encumbered. So during that period from March the 13th until the end of this year, we will have spent $6 million worth of federal funds. I wanted to give you just a brief overview of what all that went to. First of all, there was almost a $400,000 distribution allocation to Crown Point schools. We called it the CARES Act, and that money initially was spent on aids and permanent substitutes for our school cleaning supplies. We actually replaced 400 desks in the elementary schools for kindergarten students so that we could have the spacing that was necessary and required at those points in time. And we also did some upgrades to our student information system to be able to handle the absences and the different ways that we needed to record student attendance at the schools. That was followed up by an amount of, we call it the GEAR grant. This was the Governor's Emergency Education Relief Fund. It was $71,000. And with that money, we purchased hotspots for students that needed them so they could access the internet at home, as well as teachers and staff for that to occur. And then we also purchased some iPads for instructional purposes for our staff. Then came the ESSER II grant, and ESSER, E-S-S-E-R, stands for the Elementary and Secondary School Emergency Relief Funds. We received $1.7 million at that point in time. And we spent that on stipends for online learning. If you recall, that was an opportunity for our students that were at home, that weren't coming to school, and therefore we supported that by paying staff to be able to deliver those services for our students. We purchased laptops because at that point in time, people were working from home. So we needed to have laptops for our support staff so that they could work from their home and continue doing their work. We also used it for cleaning supplies and equipment, as well as we did some instructional professional development and equipment. If you walk around the buildings now, you'll see water bottle filling stations. That came out of ESSER II amount of money, so we purchased the stations as well as paid for the installation of that. We also did a software upgrade during that time, and we purchased quite a large amount of personal protective equipment for our faculty and our students at that time. Then that was followed up with the ESSER III funds, and that was $3.9 million, of which 20% of that needed to be going towards learning loss. So that 20% goes towards remediation and also summer school. So we've been using that money over a period of time, and we'll be using it up through September 30th of this year for that learning loss. So 20% of $4 million was for that. And then also we used it for safety kits in our classrooms. We did use it for instructional technology. And if you walk around the classrooms now and you see some of the technologies that are part of our school classrooms, that was because we used that ESSER money to be able to accomplish that. Then we also did it with some communication. Some of the things that you see is our ability to communicate with our community and internally with staff. We use the money there. All of these funds, especially the ESSER II and ESSER III, were very flexible. Anything that you could buy out of other funds, like title or federal money, you could use for this. I mean, it was pretty broad. Anything that came out of the ESEA, that could be purchased from it. So we had a wide variety of things that we have used to purchase with this $6 million. I can say it went towards the COVID relief that we needed to do, as well as I think we used the money to really build up some capacity instructionally and with equipment, and it was very helpful money. But we're coming to the end of that $6 million. So just wanted to let you know that we have been prudent in spending it, working together to get it done, and we've used it in a way that's really, I think, helped the corporation as in their work that we do. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hardman. As much as that $6 million went to good use, let's hope we don't have to go through that again. 7.06, Assistant Superintendent, Mr. Gianfermi.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. I just want to recognize the Crown Point High School Alumni Association. On March 9th, I attended their Hall of Fame induction ceremony where they inducted 2 former teachers and 7 former Crown Point High School students. In that group of students, we had 2 all-state, state championship women's basketball players. We have a current superintendent of schools. We have the mayor of Crown Point, a business owner on the square, and the 20-year voice of the Syracuse Orange men's football and basketball teams. So it was just a collection of awesome people that we aspire to continue to turn out at our high school. So it was just a great night, and we thank them for putting that on. And then also a quick reminder, Mr. Marshnick would like to remind you that the Loud Ice celebration ceremony is this Wednesday. I do believe, Ms. Bazin, you are attending, yes? And then anyone else that could be there, it's great to honor our kids.
You're
That
going to be
they-
there, Ms. Bazin? All right, perfect, thank you.
Yep, kids that are doing super great in school, so that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Gianfermi. 7.07, Chief Human Resource Officer, Mr. Kiwa.
Thank you, Mr. President. 2 items to share with you tonight. One a little retro here, but it's going to dovetail a little bit with Mrs. Ramirez's comments earlier about Chambertown. I'm a member of that committee, the Education Committee with the Crossroads Chamber of Commerce, and for that event, they set it up like a mini city. And for years, we've had street signs made out of PVC pipe, and they were kind of falling apart. So we had this effort to try to upgrade to metal signs, and so many people have been donating and helping out with these things. We didn't want to ask the folks that were already committing their time to participate in Chamber Time. So I thought I would reach out to some Crown Point High School alumni from 1984 and 1985 and see if they would kick in and donate for 18 new metal signs for Chamber Town. And I'd just like to go ahead and recognize the following individuals. From 1984, Larry Geisen, also 1984, Scott Hawkins, from 1985, Tom McConnell, and from 1985, Brian Leonard. I just want to thank those fellas for kicking in for a great event over there in Chambertown and upgrading our signs. Also, I want to thank Dana Toriano for coordinating another great season of eye exams for our first graders. On March 6th and March 13th here in a new location at our central office, Dr. Katrina Comiati with Community Health Network, Dr. Justin Cusera with Moses Eye Care, his daughter, Dr. Jenny Cohn, also at Moses Eye Care, and Dr. Catherine Moles with Eagle Eye Optic, tested and screened 611 first graders from Crown Point Schools and also St. Mary's here at Central Office. We're just very happy to have provided them a great environment. They were thrilled. It went super smooth here in our new location. So we'd just like to thank all those folks for coming together and providing that service to our first graders. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kiwa. Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Reese.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. As Mr. Angel mentioned earlier, on the personnel report tonight was a retirement of our Director of Food Service, Pam Maloney. Pam started here on August 1st of 2001, so she'll be completing her 23rd school year with the school corporation this year. While I'm deeply sorry to see Pam go, and we're going to miss her leadership of that department, I can't tell you how happy I am for she and Scott as they get to move on into retirement, and I can't wish them anything but the best in that endeavor.
Thank you, Mr. Reese. I see her sneaking up. Director of Communications, Mrs. Allen.
Good evening, thank you. I would like to extend a thank you to Anna Retzlaff, our district ELL specialist. She held a training for our front office teams a couple of weeks ago about ways to serve our English language learners and their families and our newcomers to the district. Many people are surprised to learn that more than 20 languages are represented in Crown Point. And with Anna's help, we were able to translate a lot of resources for our families and put them on the ELL page, including instructions to change language in Parent Square, family communications guides, and a few other things. So thank you to her.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. 7.10, 710. Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Terrell.
Thank you. Tonight, just want to celebrate spring break coming and wish all those who are getting ready to head somewhere much warmer and more sunny, safe travels. Well-deserved break coming up for both students, staff, and our community. Second thing this evening, I need for all of you, if you would, pull out your calendars, and we'd like to look at a date for our board retreat. What we'd like to suggest is the week of May 13th. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, so the 13th, 14th, 15th, or 16th. One of those dates to see if hopefully they'll work for everyone's schedule so we can get together and begin planning that. This is a similar timeline to what we did last year, just a week later than last year's, but if you can look at your schedules right now and see if you have questions or you need to check, we can have you get back with Diana before the end of the week so we can get that knocked out.
I travel for work the 15th to the 17th of that week.
Okay, so 13 and 14?
Is it evening?
Evening.
Like 4 to 9?
Yes. We can make it 5 to 9, we can make it 4. I think last year we tried to start with about 4:30-ish.
I'm open Monday or Tuesday.
Both those days do look good for me.
Okay.
Tim, you'll
So
verify.
Monday or Tuesday, which one would you guys like?
Either one, really.
My preference would be Monday, if we had a preference.
That'd be the 13th then?
Yes. So if there's, I'll relay that to Scott this evening, and then if somebody comes up with something when they get home early tomorrow morning, just let me know.
Which could happen.
Yeah, I understand. So just, for now, we'll tentatively schedule for the 13th, and then I'll verify with Scott Babjack, and hopefully we can get that ironed out to make it and solidify that day.
That'd be great. Appreciate it.
That's all for you, Dr. Terrell?
It is.
All right. Item 8.01, other business of the board. We'll lead off with your legislative report, please, Mr. Vassar.
Sure, I sent you all, I believe it was Saturday morning, the bills that have now become law in Indiana. Things have changed since the last meeting, a lot. So let me just read through some of these for us and take any questions you may have about the legislation. Senate Bill 1, that was the I-READ bill that did pass. And I can give you the details on it, but I think I gave you the details in the email itself. Not sure how that's going to affect us as a school district, but it's basically retaining, not allowing kids to move on to grade 4 until they've passed the I-READ test in grade 3. Senate Bill 185, this is the one that was never talked about when I was down in Indianapolis. And this is requiring school districts to ban communication devices like cell phones from classrooms. Hot topic. All through the state. Did not see that one coming. And again, that was, when I sat there with all the it was never even brought up. So, interesting. Senate Bill 282, this is a little bit of a change to the truancy prevention program in the state. We must now report truant students to the prosecutor's office, but the big change is it requires our prosecutor to take legal action against the parents of truant students. That's a big change for Bernie Carter to have to do. Senate Bill 270, we did not think this was going to pass, but it did, where school districts must close underutilized buildings and make them available again to charter schools for $1. Did not think that was going to go. Some of the bills that we thought were going to happen when I talked last month, they did not pass into law. Just highlight a couple of those for you. Senate Bill 287, this would have required schools to teach cursive handwriting. It's not been enacted into law. As well as House Bill 1073, this would have required schools to install video cameras in certain special education classrooms. That did not pass. Also, House Bill 1304, that would have required mastery learning or mastery-based education throughout all school districts. Mastery learning goes back a long way. I remember hearing about that when I was teaching at Lake Central back in the 80s. Did not pass. And then the House Bill 1376, that bill would have restricted school referendums to the general or municipal elections. That also did not pass. So anything I can try to answer for you?
No, we appreciate you staying on top of that, Tim, and also the emails, filling us in with that information.
You're welcome.
Anybody else, anything with other business? The only thing I have, I just want to inform you, the last couple weeks, myself, Dr. Terrell, and also Mr. Reese have just been meeting with the Town of Winfield Council, or Town Council of Winfield, and also the fire service out there. They are consolidating and also expanding their fire territory service, which will have a financial impact on us. So we've been in numerous meetings. I can tell you Mr. Reese put together a meeting of all parties to try to get some resolution or faster action, so to speak. And I'll tell you, he did an outstanding job of trying to bring, I mean, there's technically like 5 parties represented, and I can tell you it was a interesting meeting that we had here a week ago, Wednesday. And we'll just, for now, leave it at that, but progress is being made. So I'll update you as we move forward. There's really nothing that we're part of other than making sure that our financial impact is as less as possible because of them consolidating a fire district. The tax dollars, and we can get into that later on, would be limited, and then it comes out of our pocket. So it would hit us for an extensive amount of money, but those aren't final numbers yet. So I just want to keep you, and I will keep you abreast. We can talk about that individually if you have further questions. But I can tell you, Mr. Reese, some of the parties were shocked that Mr. Reese was able to put together a meeting within 5 days of these parties all jockeying for position, for lack of a better word. And he kind of hit the nail on the head. We're looking to move this forward as soon as possible, so we kind of would know where we stand in it come bottom line. So.
Are they consolidated?
So what they're doing is the West Porter Fire and the Town of Winfield, the West Township and Winfield Township are want to merge into one fire territory. But there's reluctancy based on the makeup of all things behind. So without getting into it, because they're discussing it, that's kind of the nucleus, would you say, of summing that up, Matt? Yeah, there's more to it, but at this point, once again, it's just, we're making sure and looking out for our financial impact of the school corp, which then obviously affects the taxpayers of our taxing district. So hence why the update on that other board of business. Okay, I was trying to get around it without calling people out, so we'll move on. Board statements of appreciation and recognition. Mr. Vassar, you're first.
Something that Mr. Kachina said last time when you presented last month about the improvement of our students at the elementary level on their last testing series. So I just wanted, I know we can't list all those students, but what I can't remember what the number you said. I don't have it with me now, but it caught my attention. So I just want to show our appreciation to those students for improving themselves and to the teachers who are helping them get there.
Thank you, Mr. Vassar. Ms. Bazin?
All right, so I have just a couple. So we had a few awesome athletic performances in this past month. So our gymnastics, our girls' gymnastics at the high school won state. And the similar timing, we had our boys won sectionals and regionals, and they just fell in the first round of the semi-state game this past Saturday to Fishers, which was ranked #1 in the state. So that was a very tough draw for that game, but they did make it to the Elite 8 level for the state, which is awesome. And we got to watch that game at Mr. Reese's old stomping ground, so it was very entertaining to see some royalty on the walls there. with Mr. Reese's pictures. We got to recognize dance tonight for their back-to-back national championships and state championship, which is awesome. But maybe one of my favorite events that I got to attend in the last month was our last game for the CP Ballers. And if you have not had the opportunity to attend one of those games, I took both of my boys. We loved every minute, the excitement, the crowd, the joy on the players' faces was absolutely outstanding. It was amazing to see the amount of students who came out in support of the game. I saw numerous nearly full athletic teams from our other sports come to watch our basketball athletes play for the CP Ballers. So it was truly an outstanding game. The atmosphere couldn't have been better, so I very much appreciate the opportunity. If you can keep us posted next year, Mrs. Paskus, on those dates, I would absolutely love to attend all of those games next year. That was my first time, and I was blown away, and I believe it ended in a buzzer beater, so it was truly exciting. I did see the clock manipulation to make sure that we possibly had a very exciting ending, but it was so fantastic watching those athletes, so highly encourage that. But thank you for all of your efforts getting that organized, and what an awesome opportunity for those athletes to participate in.
If we could get that clock operator for some of the March Madness games coming up, I'd like to see if I can, especially if it's gonna ruin my bracket. Yeah, so, thank you, Ms. Paisley. Mr. Smith?
Everything's really been touched upon tonight, very well covered, but I know Ms. Paskus talked about the Unified Game Day, so just to piggyback off of what Danielle just shared, that is an awesome, extraordinary event. So of the entire community, the school corporation, the teachers, the students, how they come together, I was blown away. So if you haven't had a chance to go, I do recommend, as she indicated, May 15th, because it is an experience like no other. I mean, just the way it all comes together, it's massive, it's huge, and it's an awesome, awesome day. So just would welcome anybody to go out there and join and check that out. It's an amazing thing.
Thank you. So mine's kind of just a general one to the students of the high school. So because of my love for March Madness, I was invited out to do 2 broadcastings last week at the high school with our dog radio stations. One was a podcast, and the other one's one of their local shows. So it's been a while with my kids being a little older, being in the high school during a passing period. And so last Wednesday I was there at 1 o'clock, 1:20, and I saw Mr. Dept in the hallway, and then I saw Mrs. Marcinek doing so-called hallway duty, and I got to kind of stand back and kind of just watch the, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. And we have a lot of kids in that school, but I can tell you, just in 10 minutes of watching one passing period, then I got out, and then I had to be at dismissal, like right at 2:35. So I had to be part of that rush to the door. And I can tell you, with, 2,800, right? Oh, just over 28, almost 29? 3,000. Okay, so 3,000. 3,000 students, I probably only 500 to 700, but not one issue. And, if we can just send something to Mr. Marcinek and to whoever, kudos to the fact that, I would just think, especially on a dismissal on a Wednesday, and the weather was nice that day, that you would see something that would just kind of make you cringe, and I can absolutely tell you, it was incredible. And then I was back that Friday, and I wanted to make sure, because I knew the timing then, my schedule was 2:45, so I made sure I got there at 2:20, so I didn't get caught in the hectic leaving and arriving. Spoke with our ladies at the front desk, with our security officers for 10 minutes before the event, my time started. And once again, got to see everybody leave and walk out, and that's a Friday afternoon. And once again, like, no issues. Like, it was actually awesome to see that we have students that, differ in backgrounds, you name it, and you would just think on a Friday that could be some kind of activity that would just, you wouldn't expect to see, that could be, whatever in nature, and there was none of that. All courteous, polite, and, I kind of got a late start from the office to head that way, so I was going reverse direction. So, of course, I'm going to let them go first, and, people, excuse me, hello, and waving and saying, so it was just great to see. So I just want to pass that along because, a lot of probably people think our students aren't well-behaved for the most part. They wouldn't have any indication of that, but just to let them know with no other expectations, school departing at the end of the day, that we have students that actually are caring and respect others as they're leaving for the day. So kudos to all those students that I engaged with that day, and to Mr. Gloff and Mr. Barber. I can tell you, one of the, as much as we're expanding on the STEM with the building, we're adding on to that. That program has won state awards with the broadcasting and that, and with those studios there, it is just top-notch. I mean, I can't say enough about what we're having to offer, improving that, and now improving with the STEM project and everything else that we're doing with this last expansion of the high school. So, with that, I don't think there's anything else. Sentiments of Dr. Terrell. Safe travels to all of our families heading out and traveling for the spring break. We wish you safe travels, good weather, and safe return to get back to finish that last so-called quarter of the year and finish with, get that rest and relaxation to figure the end of the school year. I do know our baseball and softball teams will be opening, if they haven't already, I don't believe so. We'll be opening that new facility, not quite everything in place, but pretty much close to being done. I went and saw that last Saturday. And so, looking forward to those spring sports with that and track starting, and those teams to have the success that we had this winter. So with that, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Ms. Basin. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion closes 4-0. Thank you.